Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Najwa Husseini with Azadi News. A fire incident razed few Rohingya facilities in a camp in Bangladesh. World Bank provides $350 million US grant for Rohingya locals in Cox's Bazar. Rohingya children fight back against COVID-19. A few Rohingya facilities, including a school, got burnt down in a fire across a refugee camp in Cox's Bazar, Bangladesh. The incident was reported yesterday in the morning at camp number 22 of Unsi Parang refugee camp after a school and 2 NGO offices were torched. Rohingya in the area tried very hard to extinguish the fire with their possible means, but they failed due to the inadequate water supply in the refugee camp. Between the panic and trial of fire extinguishing, the fire reached inside the Unsi Parang camp and razed 2 Rohingya shelters. According to Rohingya, the fire was initiated from a Chakma household where they were trying to burn some waste. Later, fire extinguishing officials arrived at the scene, and with the help of Rohingyas, they managed to bring the fire in control. Rohingya in the refugee camps of Bangladesh shelters in tarpaulin roofs, and such fire incident can raise entire camps in happens on mass scales. The World Bank WB has approved $350 million US in grant financing for 3 projects to help Bangladesh cope with one of the world's largest forced exodus. These grants will help Bangladesh address the needs of the host communities and the displaced Rohingya in Cox's Bazar district for health services, response to gender-based violence, social protection, basic services, and infrastructure. World Bank Country Director for Bangladesh and Bhutan Mercy Tambun said, Bangladesh has shown great leadership by providing shelter to around 1.1 million Rohingya, which is about 3 times of the local population in Teknaf and Ukia Upazilas. The $150 million US Health and Gender Support Project for Cox's Bazar will enable 3.6 million people, including the Rohingya, to have access to health, nutrition, and family planning services, as well as address gender-based violence through preventive and response services. The $100 million US additional financing to the Emergency Multi-Sector Rohingya Crisis Response Project will scale up access to energy, water, sanitation, and disaster-resilient infrastructures for the Rohingya and the surrounding host communities. The $100 million US additional financing to the safety net systems for the poorest project will help provide livelihoods and income support to poor and vulnerable households in the host communities using an existing national safety net program, employment generation program for the poorest, and scale up social assistance coverage to the Rohingya under the Emergency Multi-Sector Rohingya Crisis Response Project. The additional financing will benefit 40,000 host community households and 85,000 Rohingya households. Around the world, communities have been taking precautions to help slow the spread of coronavirus disease COVID-19 and keep their families safe, including by practicing physical distancing. But for the more than 850,000 Rohingya refugees from Burma living in cramped conditions in what is effectively the world's largest refugee camp, keeping some distance from other members of the community is easier said than done. Many refugees live in flimsy bamboo and tarpaulin shelters where the dangers of everyday life remain all too real, including the high risk of the spread of infectious diseases. This doesn't mean that there aren't precautions those living in Cox's Bazar can take to minimize the risk of contracting diseases like COVID-19. In fact, many of the children there have already been doing one of the most important things they can to protect themselves, washing their hands thoroughly and regularly. This is today's news. To get more updates about Rohingya, subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification bell. Visit our website azadinews.org and follow our social media accounts. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.